don't need that account no more, man. I got my own nice deal, man.
I like it. That's how it's supposed to be.
Hey, you know how it was back then whenever Dad said, here, you only got 2,000.
Yeah. When I get weak.
Nah, that's how I be doing people now.
I do not need that account no more, man. I got my own nice deal, man. That is how it's supposed to be. That one line explains everything about what just happened next.
It's the Shedeur sliding down to the damn 5th round. Shedeur has a deal with Gatorade and Nike. Now, these are like deals that premier athletes get, you know, like your Caitlin Clarks, your LeBrons, people like that, you know, and it's rare that you see, you know, Shedeur being a 5th round quarterback with these type of deals. Now, I must say, Shedeur signed all of these deals, from my understanding, before he was drafted, because no one thought in a million years Shedeur was going to go to the 5th round. Maybe second if they was really hating, but they went unprecedented type hating and made him slide down to the 5th round.
They told us Shedeur Sanders' Nike launch would be big. Nobody warned the entire system was about to crack. Because when Shedeur Sanders' first official Nike merchandise finally went live, it did not just sell well, it detonated. Analysts expected a strong rookie rollout, something like a normal NFL debut, a good first week, some buzz, a few sellouts.
A lot of traffic, though. It was definitely a lot of traffic, but I just felt real comfortable there. I went to the Nike store, got a lot of stuff. Thank you, Nike, for everything. I got in there, got one of everything in the store. So I wasn't even able to bring all my stuff back. I had to ship it in boxes, so.
Instead, within minutes, the servers collapsed, warehouses emptied, and Nike distribution started shaking like an earthquake hit Beaverton. Before we break down how much money moved and why Adidas is panicking right now, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because we track the business of football like nobody else, and we do not miss the details the big shows ignore.
My face, I can't be showing no stress in my face. Wait, yeah, no face, no face, no face.
Now here is the headline. In the first 72 hours, Shedeur Sanders smashed rookie merch numbers that take other stars an entire season to reach. This was not a normal merch release. This was a disruption. Even Nike executives were not ready for it. One internal reaction summed it up perfectly. This demand is off the charts in ways we have never seen before. That is not fan hype. That is a corporate alarm bell. And it escalated so fast that Phil Knight himself reportedly demanded immediate explanations for nationwide shortages that crippled distribution. When the founder of Nike is calling in asking what just happened, you know the industry just felt an earthquake.
Yeah, I'm just excited for all of them. I gifted a lot of receivers the Prime DT96s. You know, a couple of them had them on. So I just gifted a couple of like the main receivers going into this game. You know, I gifted them some cleats. Some warm, some didn't, but I was like, okay, this is just my little appreciation gift to them. Because they don't be having a lot in stock, so I couldn't do everybody. I wish I could. Yeah, I'm just excited.
But the real story goes deeper than jerseys and tees. Shedeur did not just sell product, he lit a cultural wildfire, and it pulled in a demographic the NFL has been chasing for years. Gen Z buyers who usually do not care about NFL merch showed up in waves and rewrote Nike customer data overnight. So what caused the explosion? And can anybody else recreate it? It started the second the SS Crown logo went live. Insiders say Nike internal projections were aggressive. They expected a strong first week. What nobody predicted was that the first hour alone would shatter full-day targets. Sales surged so violently, Nike servers crashed repeatedly. Thousands of buyers got stuck in refresh loops. Payments failed, carts emptied, pages froze. It looked less like a football merch launch and more like a once-in-a-generation sneaker drop. Then the physical side got hit. Distribution centers reported total sellouts before West Coast retail locations even opened. That part matters because it tells you this was not just one city, not just Cleveland, not just Browns fans. This was nationwide demand moving faster than logistics could react. Inventory managers started scrambling. They rerouted shipments between warehouses. They pulled from planned retail stock to feed online orders. They tried to patch the leak while the dam was still breaking.
Darius, look at these, Darius.
Oh no, I seen it.
How long do you think these gonna last in my office? Oh yeah. You know what? I'm gonna put a chip in there so I can know who's stealing.
I thought Shedeur wore those already. Well, I don't want to say. I don't want to say nothing. I don't want to say
that.
nothing. I don't want to say
No, I gave him a pair, and he know he didn't wear it. He couldn't fit. They size 11 and a half, and he still put Vaseline on his feet and squeezed them in.
Anything he says to you, he's got 3 fresh pairs that they sent.
Inside Nike headquarters in Beaverton, emergency meetings were called. Multiple sources described CFO Matthew Friend staring at live data streams. His numbers spiked in real time. Reports say Phil Knight was back on the phone demanding answers about how Nike infrastructure could get overwhelmed this quickly. And in 72 hours, Sanders' gear did not simply outsell other rookies. It reportedly outpaced established stars who normally anchor Nike quarterly revenue projections. That is when Nike priorities shifted overnight. Executives who viewed Sanders as a promising endorsement suddenly realized they were dealing with a market-moving force. One insider joked, "We thought we signed a quarterback. Turns out we signed a cultural event." Now here's what makes it historic. The numbers are crazy, but the buyer profile is what changed the game. Nike started looking at who was actually purchasing, and the results stunned people inside the company. Gen Z buyers showed up heavy. These are consumers who often ignore the NFL merch cycle. They do not line up for typical team drops. They scroll past official gear. They move on. But Shedeur pulled them in.
Do you like the DT96s or the DT93s better?
I like the 96s because it's more of the flames on the side, and I like that. It's more like chill, but still like stylish like that. So I like those the most, because I feel like they're the most, personally, I think they're the most recognizable at this day and age to youth, to everybody like that.
Because they did not see him as just a quarterback. They saw a lifestyle, a personality, a symbol, someone who already lives in their world. Social media, clips, culture, confidence, direct connection. International markets also hit harder than expected. Orders poured in from Europe and Asia at levels Nike almost never sees from a rookie in week 1. That is the kind of data that makes brands rethink how they launch athletes globally. Then, the gender breakdown hit like a shockwave. Insiders reported women made up close to 40% of early buyers. That is massive for this category. Nike football apparel is historically male-dominated. This kind of split is not normal. It is not even close.
Shedeur Sanders for MVP already. Now, let me not take it too far, but it's another example of how quick and fast Nike is with their marketing. Perfect. Shedeur is the perfect athlete to work with. He's unique. He sticks to himself.
This was the exact cultural connection Nike has been trying to capture for years, and Sanders did it instantly. It was not polished celebrity shine. It was authenticity. It was a brand that feels personal. And that is what should scare Adidas and Under Armour. Because while Nike rode the wave, everyone else was left staring at the same uncomfortable question. How did we miss this?
That time I pulled up on Primetime with custom sneakers.
21 limited edition.
Yeah.
Society.
I like that.
You see we got the gold.
I like that.
Limited only 21 edition.
Show them the tongue. You gotta show them the tongue. Show them the tongue.
Oh, wait, what goes on the tongue?
Show them the tongue. Show them the tongue.
Once the sales numbers leaked beyond Nike walls, panic spread fast. Adidas is already fighting to regain relevance in North America. Insiders say they called an emergency strategy meeting within 24 hours. The discussion boiled down to one blunt reality. Nike saw Sanders first, and we all missed it. That is the kind of sentence that changes budgets. That's the kind of sentence that accelerates timelines. That's the kind of sentence that gets executives fired if they do not respond. Adidas started sketching contingency plans, trying to identify young athletes who could be fast-tracked into endorsement pipelines. Under Armour hit the alarm too. They're known for swinging early on young talent. Reports say they accelerated scouting and outreach for the next wave of NCAA stars. Before Nike or Adidas even fully locked things down, brands were already exploring conversations with athletes still in college. That alone shows how desperate the race became once Sanders reset the standard. This was not business as usual anymore. This was survival mode. Now, here's where it gets complicated, because Sanders' original Nike deal was not built for an explosion like this. That's why urgent renegotiations reportedly started before the first week even ended. Sanders' camp was caught off guard by the scale, but they were not unprepared. Insiders say they're already pushing for a rookie compensation package that could shatter precedents. Think mega-star money without the traditional waiting period. When Shedeur signed his Nike deal, it was already seen as aggressive. Sources say it included performance incentives, merch royalties, and even early discussions around limited equity opportunities. It signaled belief in his upside. But even the boldest internal projections did not come close to forecasting what happened next. Bonus triggers that were supposed to activate only under extreme conditions got blown past immediately. Stretch goals that once sounded unrealistic were crushed in real time. Suddenly, what was meant to be a forward-looking, incentive-heavy agreement felt outdated within days. And here's the twist. Nike does not appear to be pushing back. Insiders say executives now understand Shedeur's value goes beyond jerseys and shoes. They are not paying for future touchdowns alone. They're paying for cultural leverage. They're paying for attention that converts. They're paying for a movement that drags new consumers into the Nike ecosystem. That's why this story matters more than a merch drop. For decades, rookies were expected to earn their money on the field first, play well, win games, then brands pay. That was the old rule. Shedeur flipped it. His market pull is already so powerful that Nike is treating him like an established icon, not a rookie, not a maybe, a cornerstone. Now, some people will say merch doesn't matter if the player doesn't perform. That's fair. Football hype dies fast without production. But this is where Shedeur separates himself again. This is not just marketing smoke. The brand is backed by something harder to manufacture, real on-field authenticity. Even in limited action, he looked like himself, calm, confident, unshaken. He did not look like a rookie begging for protection. He looked like a guy who expects the moment. That matters because authenticity is what makes this sustainable, not just ads. And the symbol tied to his name is now taking on a life of its own, the SS crown. In weeks, it went from a design concept on a screen to a cultural stamp you see on streets, in music videos, on social feeds worldwide. Nike pushed his merch into physical stores, and veteran managers say the response felt unreal. Flagship locations from New York to Los Angeles turned into Sanders showcases overnight. People were not walking in for one jersey, they were building full collections. Hoodies, accessories, bags, shoes, stacks. Reports say Nike Manhattan flagship recorded the single highest revenue day in that store history during the first week of the Sanders launch. A store manager said it felt like a Supreme drop collided with a championship parade. And it didn't stop at retail. On the secondary market, Sanders merch started moving like stock shares. Platforms like StockX reportedly saw resale premiums jump into triple digits. That's when you know it's not just fandom, it's demand plus scarcity plus cultural heat. So now the real question is not whether Shedeur Sanders had a successful Nike launch. That part is over. He did. The real question is what happens next. Is Shedeur Sanders rewriting the rules of long-term athlete branding? Or is he testing how fast hype can turn into pressure? Because pressure is always the bill that comes due. If he plays well, the brand becomes a blueprint, the SS crown becomes an empire, Nike gets a decade-long anchor, other rookies demand similar structures, the whole industry shifts. If he struggles, the establishment will say, see, this is why rookies should not get this much power. This is why you don't build a business around a player before the trophies. That's what makes this moment so massive. This is bigger than Cleveland, bigger than football, bigger than one merch release. This is a live test case for the future of sports marketing. And the crazy part? It's being led by a guy the league treated like a normal draft pick, a late-round project, a fifth-round quarterback. Now he's moving like a cultural centerpiece. We're going to keep tracking the money and the movement. Make sure you're subscribed. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.